And I think that's what we're trying to explore today. So we're really curious to actually learn about things that are going on the ground in Ukraine with regard to business, how companies are actually trying to stay alive and keep business going. As well as at the same time, we hope that this is also a good handhold for people from Ukraine that are currently in the Netherlands and are looking for connections, are trying to look for work, are trying to, find housing or any kind of other help that they might need. And hopefully this session will also help to provide some connections there. So we're very keen on supporting that. For everyone who doesn't know me yet, my name is Don Ginsel. I'm the founder of Holland Fintech. And I would love to introduce you now to our esteemed panel here in the room. Maybe, Wouter, can I ask you to first start, take the mic and introduce yourself? Is it on? Just to check.
Yep. Well, good afternoon. My name is Wouter Timmerman. I'm representing Levi9 Technology Services and working as an account manager there.
Thank you.
Tanya van Wittenburg. I also, together with Wouter, work in Levi9. I'm security officer in our headquarters in Amsterdam.
Thank you, Tanya.
Solomia Zahrai, Senior Business Representative at Intellias. I'm based in Paris and I'm supporting the team at Intellias.
Thank you.
Добрий вечір, ми з України. It's a popular word saying now in Ukraine, like, good evening, you're from Ukraine. I'm Andrei Kuzin. I'm a delivery manager in Italias, and I'll tell you the stories how we manage delivery during this hard times.
Yep. Great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And so we also have people remotely. Rostislav, can you also hear us and introduce yourself?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rostislav Duk, and I'm chairman of Ukrainian Fintech Association.
Yeah, thanks, Rostislav. It's really nice that you could join us live from Ukraine at the moment. And we're very much looking forward to hear a bit from you. What would be, let's say, what's going on currently on the floor right there in Ukraine. And maybe that's a good start to actually start the conversation. So would you be willing to share with us a little bit about what's going on currently in Ukraine on fintech?
I want to share with you the latest research we done before the war. Each year we do the Ukrainian Fintech Catalogue that show how the industry looks like, what change we have, and what trends we can observe. So we should present it 25 of February, but 24 of February, Russia starts the war with Ukraine, so we postpone it. So today we present it with EU Commission, and now your first professional associations that we share our knowledge with. So we call it Challenging Needs of Ukrainian Fintechs. I will not stop on why fintech is important and how it's global and how it's changed the economy. I'll just quickly drop to how Ukrainian fintechs looks like at the end of 2021, what expectation, and then we can switch to how we can cooperate and do some collaboration. So Ukrainian fintech in numbers, Ukrainian are pretty strong in terms of programming, in terms of innovation and ecosystem development. We are 49 place in innovation index, 48 in ecosystem ranking, 47 in digital life quality. More than 200 fintechs exist at the market. Some of them are included in catalogs that we'll present, and some just work on their own products. We are 8th place in Europe from technical skills. Ukrainian fintech due to COVID grow in numbers and numbers of clients. And if you go deeply how Ukrainian fintechs looks, it's mostly half of them not a big team, so up to 25 people. If we go to the stage of company development, most of these fintech startups and providers working on scale their business like maturity company, and only some of them just try to find their new like problem solving fit the market. It may be new trend due to COVID, so they most focus it on developing their own products that in just try something new. 73% of Ukrainian startups have passed break-even, so they're pretty stable. It's like unique Ukrainian situation. If you compare with other fintech jurisdiction, mostly correlated with all startups developed with their own money. So it's not a lot of venture money at the market, and that's why most of startups go quickly through the death valley and they're pretty stable. So if we look from terms of geographic, up to 80% of all Ukrainian fintech was based in Kyiv before the war, and after the war, I think half of fintech community based somewhere in Western Europe, Western Ukraine. So we now as association move from Kyiv to Lviv and switch from association to Fintech Resist, but we going and support our members in what they're doing. If we speak about business models that Ukrainian fintechs the market, you can observe different types of business model, and dominating is like transaction fee and some subscription mode. In terms of audience, Ukrainian fintechs work with different segment, different audience and different products. You'll see it later, but mostly the last year they focused to find some solution and product for individual entrepreneur, small and medium business, and main like individual segment, it was mostly for digital lending. So specialty of Ukrainian fintech was that they are mostly product driven, so they don't have such experience of sales developers. It mostly big IT outsource company done, and we have a couple big IT companies that have like special fintech units, and Ukrainian fintech startups and providers mostly focus it on products. So if you back for in terms of source of funding, it's still 66%. It's like personal costs to develop the startups, and then come private investors, and then in small amount of different types of finding the money. So venture capital is still like 3% at the market. And when we ask startups how they want to find the next round and next initiative, then they start to discuss that more than half of them are ready to invite money from like venture fund or private investors. So if you back to structure of Ukrainian fintech, you can observe like all this region country dominated with payments and technology and infrastructure. So infrastructure very popular because lack of physical infrastructure a couple of years ago give a lot of space to develop like technology in digital infrastructure, and consumer lending like in third place of popularity. So if you back how Ukrainian fintech company operate and cooperate with different markets, you can find that 63% focused only in Ukrainian market, 15% work with different European countries, 7% with the United States, and 6% with this region. But from all this 63% who are stay in Ukraine last year, 9% tells that they have plans how to go to foreign markets. I think after the war, these plans like more than 100%, because the local market are stressed at the moment. And if we speak about technologies, the most like popular technology was API-based technology, chatbots, artificial intelligence, blockchain, and different cloud-based services. And we are good in new technologies that come to fintech market as an industry, because Ukrainian specific that Ukrainian programmers, we have very strong mathematical school at the country, and it give good quality CTO and developers to Ukrainian IT and fintech companies. So COVID have, as I mentioned, very positive influence to fintech industry. So most of fintechs say that they have growth of market, of revenue, and of clients. So it's have positive impact of the usage of the product. And fintech ecosystem maps looks like we presented the screen. So as you can find, we have different subsegments. We have more than enough in each segment companies, and all of them at the moment will be ready to cooperate in different types of cooperation with international partners due to the stress we have in the country. So you can download English version of Ukrainian Fintech Catalog using this QR code. So I will go forward and we can back them to QR code if it will be needed. So the war come to Ukraine 24th of February, destroying normal business as usual, destroying the infrastructure, killing people, and make a lot of stress not only for people and for economy. So we as Fintech Association change focus more from business to resist. A lot of our activity and our member activity was focused and still focused on some volunteer activity, helping army, and also helping association try to help our members, fintech company providers, to stay alive, to find new clients, and help them to go abroad in terms of business. So if we speak about some specific segment, digital lending die in the next day of war. Some other sub-industry significantly decline, like Ecom, RegTech, neobanks, and it's a huge flow of people from the industry. So some go to army, some leave the country, some like internal displaced people, and some are put by Russian invaders. And significant decrease of demand from business side and individual side due to stress of war and damage of working and living infrastructure. So the positive things that we have at the moment, this is like government go deeply in terms of digitalization, do some like digital services, digital government services through the state-owned application called DIA. And they adopt couple laws that give chance to build some like businesses that wasn't in legal sphere before. So Ukraine adopt cloud technology law, also in government service, for government services. Ukraine adopt digital assets laws that put Ukraine of leading country in terms of implementation, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and digital assets technology. And we now have very attractive taxation due to war, and it will be after the war for economic rebuilding and liberalization of financial like legislations that we have at the moment. Good point also is last year we adopt Ukrainian like open banking law. It's like equal to European second payment directives that give chance to move both sides from Ukrainian startups who will have Ukrainian license. They can be sustainable with PSD2 directive, and also European startups could come to Ukraine and easily have license of National Bank of Ukraine. So we will have a great deferred demand due to this situation we have. At the moment, we make our cooperation as association stronger with EU partners. Ukrainian Fintech Association start to be associate member of European Digital Finance Association, and we thank our colleagues for all things that we do in fields of cooperation. Also for Holland Fintech that host us today and care about how help Ukrainian fintech startups to stay alive and communicate with our partners. So, and huge potential of rebuilding new infrastructure after the war, and we will invite all fintech community to help us with this. So so it will be my last slide, and I'll just couple areas want to mention that we are focused also at the moment. So we now in preparation pan-European hackathon, so it will be a Fin and Tech hackathon help Ukraine in War of Independence, approximately at the end of April or beginning of May, so we will announce it later. It's open for all EU fintech and tech providers to focus it, to build some solution to help Ukrainian people. Also, as Fintech Association, we do the separate team inside that will help international partners who will look Ukrainian fintechs or some developers team to cooperate with, will help with procurement and quality controls. Some of this team have very professional teams inside that they know the right technology and they have possibility to do some white label or outsource solution due to war because the business little bit decrease. Also, as association, we will focus and go for funding for some projects that could help ecosystem stay alive. It will be a matching platform between Ukrainian startups and fintech providers and contracts investor from EU region. It will be building 2 physical hubs in Lviv and Kiev for startups who lose their offices in eastern and south of Ukraine. And also it will be a platform for new skills education for students. We call it digital fintech labs. Before the war, we have fintech labs in some universities, and now we want to make it totally digital and spread it to all universities. And building job portal for skilled Ukrainian refugees and IDPs that could work in EU or remotely in this uncertainty time. So thank you very much for your time. I think it will be some overview how Ukrainian fintechs looks like. You can download the version of Catalogue via this QR, and I think we can, my colleague's presentation, we can then switch to some discussion, and we are open to any help and any intro in Ukrainian market if some international partners will be needed.
Thank you, Rostislav. I think that's a really useful presentation. It looks really nice. Must have gone quite some work into creating that research and presenting that. So, but I think it's really nice to get that overview, and also for sharing your insights about what's going on in the fintech community at the moment. I think it's quite impressive how you made the switch from as a regular fintech association to also cope with the invasion and trying to support your members and the people throughout the current transition that you're in. So quite impressive indeed. So thanks for that. Indeed, we'll get back to you in a moment for the discussion, and then I would like to take a bit more time here with the people at the table, and then we'll be back with you. Yeah, maybe it's nice actually to tell a little bit more about your organizations before we move on to get a bit of an idea, because you're based here currently. You're now in Amsterdam, but right, you have a strong tie with Ukraine, so it might be nice to explain a little bit about how that works and how you're related to also to the fintech ecosystem in Ukraine. Would you perhaps like to start from a Levi9 perspective?
Yes, so well, Levi9 is a Dutch-founded technology company offering nearshoring from Serbia, Ukraine, and Romania. We're based in Amsterdam, and actually, well, the business model is mainly Dutch customers, where we work with our colleagues abroad, offering software development teams. So in Ukraine, we have around 350 colleagues in 2 delivery centers in Kiev and Lviv. So therefore, yeah, of course, this situation has impact for us as a company. And yeah, well, at this moment, most important is that our people are still safe. But of course, yeah, we do a lot of activities to manage it in a proper way.
So I think what Rostislav was saying is that there's especially the demand side fell away, right? But you see that a lot of people, they of course, sometimes they switch towards other activities to support Ukraine in the war. But in some cases, I've also spoken with people through video calls that are really just trying to get work done. How's that going on your end? How do you balance that?
Yeah, so definitely as a company, we completely understand and we leave people very flexible in taking part of those voluntary work, mobilization, because of course we completely understand their situation. What is also very impressive is that people are so motivated to, well, keep the country running, keep the economy running, keep focusing on doing their job properly and being there. So the majority of our people in Ukraine are operational at the moment. But yeah, definitely there are some people doing work for their country, which is more than understandable, I think.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Maybe would you like to share us a little bit about Intellias and how you work at the moment with your people in Ukraine?
Yeah, absolutely. So Intellias is a service company, service software development and consulting company. And Fintech is a big part of our portfolio. We have a lot of clients in Europe and also in US and Saudi Arabia. So for us, it's very important to be part of the community. We have over 2,500 employees, and a lot of them are, of course, in Ukraine, because we are founded Ukrainian. Our sea level is Ukrainian, and our heart is and always remains Ukrainian. Though with the start of the situation, we have relocated our headquarters to Krakow. Of course, the war has affected the business. And let's say that we had a business continuation plan back from 2014, which was updated. So with the first entrance of Russia into Ukraine, and then the business continuation plan was updated in 2022. Unfortunately, we had to make use of it. So we had to evacuate our people from the most hot regions. We relocated over 1,300 people with 20 bases. We activated the plan within the first hour of the attack. Most of them have been located to the safe areas, so to Lviv, Ivano-Frankivsk, and Uzhgorod, and villages anywhere around. We organized over 100 places for them to stay. We played a relocation package for them. So we try to do everything so our people feel comfortable, then we can do it as fast as possible. Of course, there is a percentage of people which decided that they cannot work and that they want to join the army. But proportionally, it's just 5% of our full size of our engineers, which is still okay. When we're talking about the effect it had on the project itself, I'm very happy to say that we have been 97% effective. So there were a slight decrease in effectivity due to the start of the war, but it's not really huge.
It's quite impressive to see that you can keep on going like that, I think, in such a situation.
Yes, I think our people are very much motivated. And when you're angry, you want to get stuff done. You want to make sure that your partners can rely on you, because we take business personally. A lot of people say, well, business is business. It's nothing personal. But for us, business is personal. We build long-term relationships. And for us, the way we work with our clients is important, because it's something that builds your reputation. It's something that is your building block towards where you're heading to.
Yep. No, clear, I think. And so I think one of the things, I mean, I followed you organized some sessions as well to give some insights, I think, on how your operations are going and what kind of challenges you're facing. I think one of the things I picked up there a few weeks ago is that you see that there's demand is decreasing also from countries outside of Ukraine, right? So that they fear that perhaps delivery from Ukraine might not be going so well. Well, I think your story already confirms that worry is not necessary at the moment, and it might actually be giving you an extra challenge if the business is falling away, right? If people are looking for alternatives.
Absolutely. So we see a decrease in the requests. However, we also see more support from our clients. So they increase the amount of business they are doing with us because they already started the cooperation and they understand and value how we do the service and that we are keeping on being effective. We also had to be more fast on activating our expansion strategies, which we, the long-term strategy is something which you plan for, and then you always take the time to reflect and to think if that's the right way to go forward. But the war made us make those decisions. So we are scaling the offices in Poland. We are opening 3 new locations because our people are now based there as well. We're opening a location in Portugal, in Colombia, and I think in Croatia we already did, and we're thinking about some other locations like India, etc., etc. So I think now we just have to be more fast with what we were planning and making decisions more rapidly, which is bringing us back to the times when we were more of a startup.
Yeah, I can imagine that's definitely the case. But that's also a good way to sort of manage potential disruptions in either location, right? At one point, you could actually manage by having multiple locations. I think that probably works the same for you as well, right? I'm sure, Tanya, maybe that's an interesting question for you. So, sort of, how do you actually cope with that? Sort of with your delivery, you also have multiple locations from where you do development. How do you manage that process in any kind of disruption you might actually have, like we, for example, see now in Ukraine?
Yeah, I think our story to some extent is similar, of course. And yeah, when the war, well, even before the war started, of course, they say hope for the best, prepare for the worst. So, of course, we were considering different kind of scenarios. We offered relocation to our people already before the war. And of course, at that time, it didn't look so real. So we didn't have many people who really considered that seriously. But when the war started, of course, yeah, we had some people who, yeah, made use of the package we proposed. And some people are here in the Netherlands. We have a group community. We have a group in Romania right now. But and we also help in their families, not just our employees, yeah, because it's yeah, it comes as a package, of course, in this situation. And we are happy we can help them. And now maybe you know that men are not allowed to leave the country, and yeah, so then we also help only families, at least if they want. So we support their families to come here or any of our locations. And this, the primarily reason is safety. So safety first, business continuity second, and in the end, business continuity is people. And when they are safe and yeah, they feel differently, and yeah, of course, there is higher chance they will work and contribute. But yeah, it's also we feel better, they feel better. But it's still a decision of a person, so we respect the decision of a person and the family. So as my colleague Wouter said, some people choose to mobilize, and we respect it and we support them, because if they want to defend their country, they should. And some people want to volunteer, they should. So we support that. And when you give them this choice and you support them, I think it's also, yeah, they want to contribute more because they value that. So rest of people who are not mobilized and not volunteering full time, yeah, they're contributing 100% or maybe 120% right now. They're really devoted. And within Ukraine, of course, we are also offering to move to areas which are safer than the others. So now we don't have anyone who's in really hot areas, and again we have the same really high figures right now. It's really impressive for us, even under the condition that they can work, contribute, and they want to keep going. And even we had some case when the person won in an occupied area, and as soon as he got out, first thing he asked, I want to start working. So which is it's part of maybe culture, mentality, but it's also that if you are nice to people, if you help them, support them, build trust, of course they want to give the same to you back. So we built this trust for many years. We have long history with Levi 9 in Ukraine, and we know this culture, we know these people personally, and this trust really helps right now. So to go through difficult situation.
No, actually, and one question that actually pops up for me in this case is that I think, of course, you have a strong foothold here in the Netherlands, and you talked about that you also have people here now on the ground. How do you feel that the support here is evolving? I mean, since last week, people could actually pick up, let's say, get a job without having a specific permit or visa for that. So that's I think beneficial. I think there's still a lot of discussion whether housing is sufficient, and some things probably are not going that smooth. What's your view there, and what's your take as well on what the biggest need still is?
Well, for Levi 9, of course, we focus primarily on employees and our families. I think they're where we can contribute the most. And we provide housing, of course, and they already have work. So, I mean, they can just continue working here. But generally, I think in Ukraine, many people are highly educated and doing jobs which are also in need here. So I think the way, if you want to help, the best way to help is give a job. I think that's also what I see in people who come here, not our colleagues, but just Ukrainians. And I think the first thing they are trying to solve, of course, housing, but after this is solved, they try to solve work. And I think this is the best way to help. And I'm glad that in Levi 9 we can continue also due to partnership with our customers. We can continue this partnership even in the situation of a war, and the customers want to continue, and they're supportive and they are helping from all sides. So this is what we can provide, this continuity to our people, and this is important for us to keep it going. We appreciate customers are on the same side with us. But I think this goes to any company. If you have a job, if you have place, give the place, and I think this is how you can contribute the most.
Yeah, thanks. Clear. I think very clear. Maybe I'm curious. I think you've been traveling quite a bit to come here, right? So how do because I think you've got people spread out across Europe. You've got people spread out across Europe from Intellias, right? So how do you see that it's going across different countries? I think is there sufficient are there sufficient places for people to actually land, find housing, and indeed basically maybe also prepare for maybe a longer stay if necessary by finding a job or other things. Let's say, for example, the schools have now opened here as well for Ukrainians from young till old. And I think this is also one of the things that I think probably all countries are trying to do something in that area. Can you say something about what you've found so far?
Yeah, sure. Like, first of all, my teams, like mostly of my teams are still in Ukraine, and it's a different story. I may cover that later, how we managed to secure the delivery and etc. But regarding what happens abroad, I will take the Poland, where we are having already our operational HQ at the Krakow. There is I was there in this office, and this office, like, it's split it to like open space type for the engineers to get the work done, etc. And the other space is a really huge children garden, like children playing for ground to get the, because you moved probably you with the kids and etc., and you have to like somewhere manage your work plus take care of the kids plus take the care of like new housing, etc. So yeah,
especially if the refugees are only women and children, right?
Yeah,
so
especially
if
that.
the women want to work, then the children have to come along somehow. Yeah.
And really, I'm still amazed how they manage to close everything on time, take care of the stuff, and plus like take care of their kids properly and etc. There is integration with the private kindergartens as well, and it's open. Like company already found the places. They hired the agency for the living financing, etc. So company really helps there with that. And about the like integration, we are actively contacting with the companies who help to extend our and open and extend our legal presence and legal entities to make everything official by the law of the country where the engineers will stay for a longer time. So we're like Poland is already discovered. We are actually discovering the Portugal was mentioned before, like I think it was Lisbon, Porto.
Yep.
So we already know what to do. We're welcoming their engineers. If you want, you push the button, I want to relocate, and we help with that, and like basically cover all the needs which the engineers will have there.
Yep.
Yeah, regarding like I'm like managing. I remember Dan, you requested like what's the client say, right? So I'm like I'm managing the German. It was a startup. Now it's I would say company which is growing to enterprise. It's FinCompare. Yeah, they help the small medium enterprises with the like service as a service platform to have a stop for small or medium companies to have all services at one place. We have there 12 engineers, and there is nothing to cover or hide. Like on the 21st, we were living with the news, and first, as was mentioned before, safety is the first. And we switched to we have the Scrum procedure of delivery with the 2 weeks iterations. We switched to Kanban, and we switched to the requirements, which doesn't need like involvement of a team. You just like open the page, read the requirements and specifics with maximum description, and you can do it like at the night, at the morning, whatever time you want. And we created like a separate communication channel in Slack and created a separate table. Like mostly my people were in Kyiv and Odessa and Kharkiv. That's kind of the hotspots.
Yep.
And we created a table where you can check the where the person is now, when she is ready or he is ready for the work and be available, and etc. And that was like a basic measures taken to understand what's next. Until I would say March 10th, we decided to switch to the Scrum back. And by the summary, I'm under NDA and cannot display the data, but by the summary, we managed only 7% of drop of the performance. Like we accomplished all goals. Today actually is the day of the sprint sprint closure, and at the midday I had a few chats and I saw that again the sprint was closed. So like basically people are saying like our need, our like probably dream is to back to normality, but I would say we are already back into normality, and I have like a live proof that everything goes constant. And there is a similar project. It's US-based client. Cannot display the name. Like they use them in the InsurTech, and there was a product. We take care of all services, like we do the product as a service and manage delivery process. And we were building this product for a year. We're only one vendor there. They don't want to make like any backup or something like that. Like we're proving that we're trustworthy, because on the 24th, when the war began, a team of 12 people managed to and managed to open the production environment, and on the 25th they made the release. in production. And the comment from client was it was amazing.
Yeah.
Like the word, the first word I can say on the public, because they were so impressed that like that was awesome. And from CTO from FinCompare, I got the direct quote like that they are seeing that the great people of Intellius, they're not as an extension of us, but they're integrated at the part of we are as a company. Like, and they experience the balance of stamina, the skills of smartness in the team and members. And we proved the stability and delivery they had been lacking in the past. So currently 2 engineers are basically still leading the whole delivery process in FinCompare. But they are from Intellius and they are from Ukraine.
Yep.
And we also discovered that we got the new request, like you mentioned, how you managed with the risks and what the client, like they're a bit afraid of going and starting a new business in Ukraine. For this category, we discovered for us, like some of the clients, especially in the fintech, they want to have separated delivery center. Basically, we take care of the recruitment of R&D center, of the culture values. We know how to manage the engineers because like it is our basically the bread.
Yep.
And we open the complete delivery centers under the K, but in other countries like Colombia, Portugal, to diverse the risk if you are really worried about it. But again, what I see, yes, there are some struggles, but what I see, the people are so again motivated to do the job,
To show
done,
they can do it.
to show
Yeah.
they can do it. That like I think that we are even stronger than we was before.
Yeah.
And I dream that everyone, will work with us and not afraid of anything. And someday we celebrate together this glorious victory for the Western values and all good.
No, well, I think that's everyone's hoping to do. That's possible on a very short notice, right? That the war is over, and I think then, I mean, if you look at the positive effects potentially, is that everyone knows about Ukraine and it has a pretty positive image now. I think about what Ukrainians are able to do.
We were joking in the morning when we met with Sola, like we always dreamt that Ukraine will be, on a name and recognized everywhere. But this dream came true, but unfortunately, not the way it should be. So, but yeah, it's everywhere. And like what I thought also, war was always the engine of changes and rapid transformation. And that's actually what we planned. The strategies we plan to do it. I don't know, on 25th, 27th. We did it already.
Well done. In any case, I think indeed it's not the best cause to have these changes, but if you can make good use of it and actually move forward, that's quite strong. Quite a strong response, I would say. And I think also I'm just curious. Maybe we should go to Rostislav as well, if we can still get him on the line. Let me see, Rostislav. Are you still there?
Yeah.
There you are. Yeah. So what's your take? You also just probably heard the discussion just now. Do you also feel that people are, let's say, besides the worries about how things are going in the war, that there's also a very positive view of what Ukrainians can do, and for example, also for Ukrainian fintech?
People who work in fintech are pretty optimistic people. So once they, make decision to fight against like classical banking or financial system and build something better. So it's like a joke. And we do kind of research during the last months, and we ask our members and fintech community how they feel, how they have influence on the business, what type of problems they have, and how we can help them. So at the beginning, it was like total stress, and people don't know how to react in situation, and business and in personal level. Some people have their business contingency plan, but you never know when you will be wake up at the morning when some bombs are hitting your city. So theory and practice sometimes is different things. And second wave of research that we do with community and industry shows that at the moment we see that the revenue streams are stressed inside the Ukraine. So it's stressed up to 80% of all businesses decrease because people didn't spend, businesses cut the spending, etc. But now it's going back to business in some area, like in Western Ukraine, and even some our providers start to give credit to the customer base. So this is like one stream. Second stream, people in personal level try to find their place in other countries if it's possible for them, because due to legal situation in Ukraine, you can't move mail cross border during the war, so it's only women can cross the border and children. So it means that some companies just could move only in legal sphere people to western part of Ukraine, find them some like place of live and work. And that's why, as I mentioned, we think about building some hubs for these startups that leave the Kiev and can find where they can sit and work. And third one, we ask them how they optimistically look to the future. Do they will continue to do what they do? And we are very proud that 80% of people who was participated in the research shows that they will continue to do what they are doing. So it means that this IT company and fintech providers who are at the market are feeling pretty motivated to keep business alive. They are pretty strong in terms of feeling that their businesses will be alive and they will continue to do it. So this gives us, some optimistic view on the industry, and we have jokes that, Ukrainian IT companies and fintech startups at the end of this war will be the most anti-fragile in Europe and have very good potential upside in terms of valuation, business, and scaling, because nobody has this experience else in Europe, how to deal business during the war and how to, alive in this situation. So in terms of this, we look positive to situation. But if we, go down for some like people story and level, some stories are pretty dramatic, especially who live in like Kharkiv or Kiev region where it was occupied by Russians. So it's very sad stories, and it's, makes some people to depression. But we are very positive looking to the victory of Ukraine in this situation with help of our international partners. And in terms of business, we see that these companies that relocated to western part of Ukraine, they stabilize their business, they stabilize their teams, and they could be a reliable partner and can do some contracts. And we could also just help in just choose this firm and do the quality control, because the stabilization of industry are very important for us.
Yep. No, I can definitely imagine that. And I think even though business took a very big hit, as you just showed also in your research, I think the talent is still there, and the will, the drive to actually move forward seems to be very big. So that's nice that you could show. But maybe one connection I also want to make, especially also if I look at the table here, the call that you did for the big hackathon. Right, I think that should be appealing for all of you here at the table as well, to get your people on that. It seems like a really noble cause. I'm really curious if we could also play a role there to advocate, in any case, that hackathon for free Ukraine, and get more people on board to support you there.
Yes, it will be cool things, and it will help to do this connection more stronger. We even think maybe could we design this hackathon if we will have like international teams with some Ukrainian participation in each teams. So we will look for volunteers and people who understand the situation that could give some advice how to do the design of the product that will be useful for the refugees, for ADPs, for local businesses. And after the war, this solution could be, another startups, and maybe next year we will invite everybody in Kiev just to present offline the Ukrainian Fintech Catalogue, and we'll have new startups that will be born during this hackathon. So we will keep you updated, and once we agreed on dates and format, we will send to all European Fintech Association, and we'll try to promote it and have more teams on board. Yeah, thank you in this.
Yeah, thanks. Of course, very much willing to support that. Looking forward to support you there. Is there anything else that you want to do? Maybe a final call out for support or thought that you want to share, perhaps with our audience?
So stop using Russian software and buy Russian products. But the funniest thing, when we try to realize what's the list of Russian products we can recommend to stop buying, it's only weapons, oil, and the set. So, and some software, that's it. So it's a kind of joke in the war period. So our main focus at the moment will be in two streams. So one stream, how we can help normal people. It's mainly focused on refugees and IDPs, and here hackathon will come with some solution and help. And second one we call to, if you have choice where to order your contract for programming, look please first to Ukrainian companies. They have enough capacity, they have enough quality of programmers, and they have enough of understanding of domain expertise, especially in fintech. As you can watch from our research, that we have fintech companies with different teams in different subsegments. So now then they have some teams that not involved in their products development due to the situation, but they want to keep this teams alive and businesses alive. So they will be very motivated to do this order quickly, quality, and to make the right result. So I think these two streams that we will focus just help businesses and help normal people. And if you have any ideas how you can join this Fintech Resist, as we call it, so we are welcome. You have our contacts, we can share our contacts, and we can collaborate with everybody just to speed up the win in this. I think it's not war Ukraine and Russian. I think it's more philosophic. It's war of values. So we are fighting for democratic values. We are fighting for people who have choice how to live, what to do, and to be protected in the normal way, and for European values. So if you join us in this movement, you will help to speed up the end of this bloody regime that attacks the Ukraine. So
Well said, Rostislav. I think that's a really nice way to put it. So thanks indeed for that call, and we'll also indeed spread that out into our network for everyone to help. Yeah, just curious about your take as well. Any comments here on Rostislav's requests and ways that you could perhaps collaborate also with fintech in Ukraine?
We from our end would be very happy to collaborate and help our people any way we can, and we do. I agree with everything that Rostislav said. Please support Ukraine by working with Ukrainians, talking to Ukrainians, helping Ukrainians, but helping also yourself in the context that it is the difference of values, and there is no life without freedom.
I just remembered the quote of one CTO. He was like asking his partner, like, how could I avoid some mistakes in the future? And those partner answered, hire Ukrainians. They will take care of everything. And when I look at our portfolio, over 70%, it's like added value services. We manage the products. We're like outsourcing. It's like yesterday day. We know, like, everyone in Europe knows, like, Ukraine is a good nearshoring partner and etc. But we already doing the products together.
Like, into a deeper partnership.
Yeah. And hire Ukrainians and forget about the problems, because we're really like taking care now of everything, and there is a huge talent pool. The managers will take care of the backup plans and managing the attrition and all of this, how to manage the engineers and etc. And like, I think working with us, as what Slav mentioned, you're basically fighting and not fighting, they collaborating for the win in this world of civilized and Western values. Yep. That's kind of what I want to say.
Thanks for your call.
Maybe to add, even now in current situation, we are continue hiring in Ukraine. We are continuing onboarding, continuing trainings, and this is driven not really from here. This is driven on the local level, because, we get a statement like, we have people, we have position, should we hire? Yes, hire, because I think that's the way to support, and that's the way to keep going. So if you have business with Ukraine, keep it going. I think that goes for all companies in Ukraine. I think this is a contribution which you can make from here. And the same goes for people who come here, I think, and some of them have jobs, some of them lost their jobs. Of course, situations are different, and the same goes here. So if you can support them in this way. And as I said, this drive we are getting from our Ukrainian colleagues, we are not pushing for any like work, or like we need to get to some figures, or we need to make customers happy that we are still delivering. The drive comes by itself, and it could be part of a culture we have, but I think you shared the same experience. So I think they try harder, and I think this is also the benefit you get, that they will do more for you than maybe other people in the current situation. So go for it.
Well said as well. Thanks. So I think it might be good to wrap up. So I think if you have anything to add beyond here, I think to share whether you feel there's a call you want to make for any kind of support, or anything you want to offer or make clear to people. I'm not sure if you have any last statements on that.
Well, I think as many companies, we are also collecting money for Ukraine through fundraising, and we offer this to all our customers. But anyone is welcome. We are collecting for Hero 555, which goes to Ukraine needs, and we are doubling the amount that we gather. So
it goes to the Red Cross.
Others, right? Well, not only, but it's a big number of organizations involved, and I live here in the Netherlands, and I see that people offer a lot of help on all levels, and this is really nice to see and to experience. So this is really appreciated. I think that people are welcome here. People get support. As you said, some things go slow, but still you see locally that people are ready to help, and if government is slow, then people are helping. So I think it goes fine. But if you have in your neighborhood people who are coming and you can help, of course, help, and team up with some Ukrainians in your community, because they can help with language and with culture and with many things. So find them, team up with them, and do what you can.
Yeah. Right. Thanks.
If I can, there is also a local community. You can find it on Ukrainians.Netherlands. So they do all the collection. They do everything which is related to volunteering, donations, etc., etc. As always, such organizations need additional donations.
Yep.
They are local. They're in the Netherlands. You can help them. You can help from here.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think what we'll do in any case, because I think we had some great requests, also suggestions on how to help. So we'll gather all the information again. We had already a post on our website with some overview of resources and help that you could offer, but we'll fill that up and also add Rostislav's suggestions and remarks there to actually make that complete for everyone, including also the Ukrainian Fintech report, which also looks pretty good to share. Any last statements? Because otherwise, yeah.
I will just wrap up. And I saw like over 8 countries in the month, and I saw what people do in different countries for us. And I just wanted to say a big thanks and keep continuing. And thank you for understanding. And like, it's like I can't express how I'm grateful for, and especially like you organized this event, and you was presidency also a part of this movement. So thank you all, and keep going with us.
Well, you're welcome, and it's nice to be able to work also with Intellias and Levy9 as members of Holland Fintech, as well as that we have a colleague Andrei from Ukraine. So basically, we're close in touch with things that are going on, and definitely goes to our heart to see how we can support this. So thank you in any case for joining me here and explaining your view. Also, Rostislav from Ukraine, thank you, and hang tight there while things the hostilities haven't gone over yet, and I think that goes for everyone who's still active there. And I think the main message there is indeed help where you can, but also keep Ukraine in business while you can. And it sounds like it's actually might actually be very positive to keep on working with Ukraine if I hear about it. So. Thank you everyone for joining in. Please keep track of the Holland Fintech website, where we'll make a summary, show the video, as well as make the resources available that we just discussed today. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you very much.